Good afternoon, happy stampers, and welcome to my happy stamping studio. This is Judi Anderson from judistamps.com, and I am hoping to inspire you in your everyday stamping and paper crafting today. So today we're going to be doing a fun technique. It's a resist technique, and I haven't done it in a while, and some of you have been asking me what you can do with your embossing powders. So this is a technique that you can use with your embossing powders. Now you can use any stamp set. I love using a solid image when doing this technique, and the Leaf COllection Background Stamp is a perfect stamp for this because you don't have to stamp a bunch of times, just a one-time stamp. So the Leaf COllection, it's a background stamp. Now you would use one of our large block for this. However, I am using my glass mat, so I'm going to put that, just mount it to my glass mat when I go to stamp. For this technique, I wanted to use a big, bold sentiment for this, and I had a stamp set in mind and I couldn't find it this morning. I had packed some things up when we went away last week and haven't unpacked everything, and I think it's in there. So I'm using the Attention Shoppers. You can use any verse you want. I just like a big bold sentiment for impact on a card like this. And then I am going to be using some of the Full of Life 6x6 Designer Series paper. This paper is gorgeous. I love the back sides of this as much as the front. And I've been making some cards this month in my in-person classes, and we had some leftover strips. So I am going to be using a strip because I don't like to waste. I like to use everything I can. And I have some basic white paper, some basic black, some lemon lime twist. I'm matching with that. Did you guys notice my sweater? Lemon lime twist. A favorite sweater of mine. I've had this sweater for years, and I find myself always going back to it because it's a color that matches everything for summer, and it's so cheery. And then our card base is a little bit different today. I'm actually using a 5x7 card base. So I scored it. So it's 10 by 7. So I scored it in half at 5 inches, and that gives me my card base. We're just going to set that to the side. We're going to set our lemon lime twist to the side. We're going to set our basic black to the side. Now I'm using a bunch of different colors, kind of emulating this right here. So I have pumpkin pie, and I'm going to be using my blending brushes. So we're going to open that up, and we are going to use a lemon lime twist for our card. Put these all across the top, and I like to put my colors with my brushes, or my brushes with my colors. Berry Burst. This is a color that's come back, and I just love that it's back. And then we have some Daffodil Delight. So we're going to start by blending some colors on our basic white. And I'm going to start with the lightest color first, and that is our Daffodil Delight. So I just pick up some ink, rubbing my brush in both directions here on the pad, and then both directions on the lid. And I am just going to do some areas, just blotches. No rhyme or reason to this. And I'm going to blend it out. These colors are going to be overlapping. Next, I am going to use our pumpkin pie. I'm just going to get some color here. And rubbing it in my lid. And then I'm going to go right on here and get some color. As you can see, I'm just kind of going all over. Let's put some over here, and I'm overlapping the color onto the previous color. So I'm going to be doing that with all my colors. And I do want this nice and bright and vivid. So I want my colors dark. So I'm going to go to my lemon lime twist. My lemon lime twist is probably my second lightest color, so perhaps I should have gone into that second, but I wanted to blend my pumpkin pie into my Daffodil Delight a little bit. So now I'm going to take this, and as you can see, I am overlapping the colors. Okay, and this is a color that I want to make sure stands out a lot on here. So going to be picking up a little bit more color with this one. Get this into here. And I'm going to do a little bit down here. I'm probably going to be going back to a couple of these colors after I have all the colors on here. I am just filling this basic white mat up with all these colors. And I know this Berry Burst is a deep color. So I'm going to press lightly and go in, and I can always darken it. Okay, and just rubbing in both directions. Like I said, I started light, and then I go in and I add color to it. It's always easier to add color when you're doing this than take color away. So I'm just brushing this color on, overlapping in some areas. And you can see I don't have a white spot here, but I'm going to go ahead and put some of this Berry Burst right here, touching all three colors. Okay, I want to add a little bit of the Daffodil Delight here. Just going to go in here and then add that over the top. I'm going to go over my Daffodil Delight again because I want to layer some of that color and deepen that and brighten it up. So as you can see, my entire sheet is covered. Go ahead and take my pumpkin pie and just go over. So you can just keep going over it until you get the effect that you want. I want this good and bright. So that is why I'm going over. And I wanted to give my ink a chance to dry. Now I do want to add a little bit of this lemon lime twist down here. So I'm just going over, mostly over the Daffodil Delight, because as you can see, it gets a little bit darker here when I touch the pumpkin pie. Okay, let me see, Berry Burst, maybe just a little bit more of that color here. And each time you do this technique, it's going to come out a little bit different. I'm going to add some right here. So I'm just pressing on the tip of this to get that color. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close all of these ink pads up. Gives this ink a little bit of a chance to dry. It's really humid here, so it's taking things a little bit longer to dry. You could, hit it with your heat gun if you wanted. I'm not going to. I don't think we need to do that today, but you could. So that is our background. Awesome, right? So now we're getting ready to emboss. And this is where the resist comes in. So I want to take my embossing buddy, and you're going to notice I'm probably going to get a little bit of ink because not as much as I thought. And you don't want to touch your paper a lot because the oils from your fingers get on there, and the embossing powder will stick to that. So I want to rub this really good. I'm going to pat it a little bit just because we're humid here. And what this does is it stops the embossing powder from sticking to areas we don't want it to stick. I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm going to grab my stamp. Now, you could mount this to your table if you wanted. Okay, we're going to put that down. We're going to get our Versamark ink. And I have something on here, and we're just going to ink this up really good. And yeah, this pad looks like it's good. It looks like it's dirty, but you know, it really isn't. The ink will come off clear, and that's exactly what we want. Now, I do have the original heat gun that when I started with Stampin' Up that I got, but I do have the new one also. I just grabbed this one. Okay, so you can't see the ink on there, but can you see that it's a little bit, yeah, there, you can see it's a little bit glossy. You can see I didn't turn my correct lights on today, so I have my ceiling lights, so you're catching my can lights on my glass mat. And don't forget, these glass mats are available to purchase. Many of you wanted it. Okay, so we've got that. Next, we're going to take our mat and we can put it on. It's smaller than this. I'm just going to, I want a lot of this detail on it, that smaller detail. I'll put it on here, just drop it down, and then we're going to press. Now, sometimes I will take an ink block, stamp block, and go over it so I don't press in between the images, but I want to get this ink really good, and I want to make sure that I get good coverage with that ink, because next we're going to emboss. Okay, so we've got that. Okay, have that. We're going to get our embossing powder tray. We're going to drop that right in there. And you really, I don't know if you can see where the images are on there, but you will see it when I put this powder on. So we're going to go ahead and sprinkle our clear powder right on here. Okay. And I'm going to grab my tweezers. Well, helps if I grab them correctly, right? Okay, we're just going to move that powder all over our paper. And this is when you're going to see the design. Now, you could also do this, oops, went on a image there. Brush that off. Go ahead and put this right here in the corner where I don't have an image. So now you can see those images on there, right? So we're going to heat this up. Just going to flick it just a little bit, make sure I get all that excess powder. Now this is going to get a little bit noisy when I use the heat gun. And I'm going to show you, I let it heat up a little bit before I start. And then I start and I hold it to the side. And I don't wave it around. I'm going to hold it and watch it start melting. Okay, so that powder starts to turn clear as it melts. And by holding it and letting that heat go across the paper, I can control the heating of the powder. There we go. And as you can tell, it starts heating quicker the more I hold this on the paper, because that heat is going out across the paper. And you want to make sure that you don't burn your embossing powder, but you do want it to melt. Okay. There we go. Go here to this edge. Heat all this up. This is like so much fun. This is one of the things that I loved when I first learned how to stamp. It's like, oh my gosh, I can actually do that. Okay, I'm going to tilt it to make sure that everything is heated. A little bit right in here to do. Okay, so it looks like everything is heated and melted. We're just going to let that cool for just a minute. But look at that. Isn't that fun? Got a little something here. That is some of our gold leafing. I use that a lot with this. Oops, I have a corner over here I didn't get. I always double check. This corner. Okay. So if you don't melt it enough, it will flake off. So you want to make sure that it's melted enough. And it is cool. So you can't really see, you can see it's shiny, but we're going to really make those pop. So we're going to grab our graph paper here. And I am going to grab our, oh, what color do I want to do? I'm going to go ahead and use Memento. I have a blending brush. You could use a brayer also. Oh, this is purple. I don't want to do purple. Or you know what? I am going to do purple. I am going to do Gorgeous Grape. We're going to do Gorgeous Grape. Okay, so this is nice and cool. So we're going to take our blender pen, our blending brush, and we're going to ink it up heavy. And I'm not going to blend it at all in the lid because I want this on here dark. So we're just going to put this on. I'm going to pick up more ink. It is a little bit quicker doing this with a brayer. But I know many of you don't have the brayer yet. We do have a new brayer that is awesome. And so I'm showing you with the blending brushes that you can get. This is going to be a little bit softer look and a more variegated background for this. But look at that. Look at those leaves pop. And isn't this fun? Just such a wow card, right? We are going to get it now. If you used basic or the black ink, the Memento ink, you don't want to use StazOn. The StazOn will stay onto the embossed areas. You won't be able to rub them off. So you want to use a water-based ink. And we could have used a dark green with this. Like I said, we could have done the Memento. Last minute, I changed to Gorgeous Grape just because I wanted a lot of color, but it's deep enough. So it's not going to be black, but it's still going to be deep enough for us to get this technique. And I love this technique. This is a resist technique. It's called Joseph's Coat. Oh, I don't have a paper towel here. Oh dear, I don't have a paper towel. But you want this to dry for just a second. So while this is drying, we're going to go ahead and get our mats onto our card base. Just because I want that dry just a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and adhere these to our card base. So I have some lemon lime twist. How many of you love this color? Let me know in the comments. Okay, we're going to put this down so we have an even mat across the around the three sides. Okay, now I'm going to take a punch, and it's going to be the 2 1/4 punch, and I'm going to punch a circle out of the center of this mat. Okay, I'm going to be using that for our sentiment. And that's a paper saving tip. Instead of getting another piece of basic black, I can get it right out of here, and you're not even going to see it in the end. We're just going to center this in the lemon lime twist square. Then we are going to get our designer series paper strip, and we are going to put that right across the top here. I'm put that right across the top, all the way from one side to the other. So I am going to just run some glue right along here. That way I'm ensuring that I get it from edge to edge. Put it right here. Just centering it in that white space there. I just thought that this would be a different little touch to this card, and able to use up my scrap. Go ahead and trim that off. Okay, I am looking here to see if I have a paper towel. I don't have a paper towel. Oh, yes, I do have a paper towel. I usually keep them in my drawer here, and I thought I was out of them. So we're going to bring this paper back in, this embossed piece. And I want to take a little piece off and just hold it with my hand because I don't want this ink on my fingers. And I'm just going to rub this. Now, see how that color pops off? There's color on there, but it comes off. And this is when I said you don't want to use stays-on ink because you want to be able to rub this off. And look at how those colors pop. Move your paper towel around because as it gets ink on it, just like when you're cleaning windows, it doesn't all come off. And so we're going to go right here like that. And look at that. Look how nice and bright those colors are now. Isn't that cool? We're going to grab my favorite black and white checked ribbon. And we are going to do a little punch hole here. I move my punches and I can't reach them. So let me take my mic off for just a second. Grab my punch. There we go. And I am going to punch just a little hole right there. We're going to take our ribbon 1, 2, 3 times. Ribbon trick. I haven't done this ribbon trick in a while. So we take the two ends, put them together. From the back, we are going to kind of fold that ribbon just a little bit because we want to get it through that hole. So we're going from the back to the top to the front. Okay, we're going to pull that ribbon through, an inch, inch and a half. Then we're going to take the loop and we want to make sure it's not twisted, which it is here. So let's untwist it. There we go. I'm just going to take it and loop it around the card. Okay, loosely. Okay, make sure it's not twisted, which it did twist again. We are going to take, I call these the legs, take those two legs and separate them, pull up on them to tighten that ribbon. Now, I want to warn you, don't pull too quick with that because it will tear that hole. Okay, I like to tie my bows and ribbons upside down. Wrap that around, and I'm going to pull my left one first because I want that knot to be just like that. Okay, so we've got our ribbon on. So now we can go ahead and attach this to the card front. This is a fun technique for you guys to do all kinds of cards. You know, we've had for the kiddies, we've had space sets and all different kinds of sets. You can do floral sets. Now, like I said, I like to do this technique mostly with solid stamps because you get more of an impact, but you can do it with outline stamps also. Okay, hold that down for just a second. I'm going to grab my 2-inch punch while I'm holding that and grab a piece of basic white for my sentiment. We've got a scrap piece here. Got 2 scrap pieces there. I'm going to go ahead and punch that. Okay. Grab my sentiment. I'm going to do just for you. This way I can make it a birthday card or any type of card I want. Oops, this is not sticking down. So I am actually going to put my block with my punch on top of that. And that should hold that down. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment on here. Just for you. Like I said, if you don't have the memento or a black, we could have used the gorgeous grape since we used that for the background. And we could have used a gorgeous grape matte on the card. Okay, just put a little bit of glue on here. Let's get this on here. Okay. Just going to rub my stamp block on here. Just kind of pat it up and down, make sure that's good and stuck now. I'm going to grab some of my dimensionals. I've got some edges here from the black, so let's go ahead and use that since it's on black cardstock. Then it'll be less noticeable. Put that here, here, get that off of there. So let me know how many of you have done this technique before. I'm going to put this right here. I want to see as much of that background as possible. So there is the Resist technique, a larger than normal card today. And this is also called, like I said, the Joseph's Coat. We used to do that with our glossy cardstock. But I just wanted to show you, you can still do that with the basic white and your blending brushes. And a little bit of embossing powder, and it's gorgeous, isn't it? So I hope you guys enjoyed this. You can find all these products in my store. You can go to judistamps.com and click on Shop Now and purchase these. So until we meet again, everybody, happy stamping!